hell? It's gonna be there. 20 gonna be there, y'all. I know that.
So it's one thing, you know, I interview a lot of artists. It's one thing to have a top 10 song, but when you go #1, they say
Yeah, I jumped out of it. Well, I can move around, I can go wherever I want. You know, so I was wild out. I was crazy. What's your right? I would say that's the craziest shit that I did.
So what kind of car was it?
Ferrari.
Ah!
Yeah. It was all bad. It was all bad.
You had exposed.
Yo, if social media was popping around that time, bro,
you'd be the biggest thing ever.
It would be classic. I kind of wish that I would have waited to drive a fucking car off the boat.
There's no video of this?
It would, because during that time, nobody cared about tape. It wasn't like everything today, somebody started like fighting.
Of course. Right. Started the car, people like, hey Mario. No, And the guy wasn't even tripping. He wasn't mad. He was on boat with you.
Nah, he wasn't.
Oh, you
I rented it. It was like 6 of us and like 12.
Yo.
Hey, what's poppin', homie? Cool, man. Just playing video game. God of War. Yeah. What thing?
He didn't send you that?
Send me what?
I thought he was your boy.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's interesting.
What are you talking about?
No, fuck around. So the Patrice documentary's coming out this weekend, right?
Oh, okay.
You gonna watch it?
What when is it going? Netflix?
Comedy Central.
I don't even know if I got Comedy Central. Yeah, I do have it. I do. Yeah, we'll watch it, of course. Oh yeah, hell yeah. I'm gonna watch that. Definitely, for sure. Hoop, 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 hoop. Oh, okay. Yeah, click one. I mean, if that's something private, click one. You know what I'm saying? Click. Yeah. You were saying, yeah. No, Clip is a loyal dude, man. Yeah. You funny, man. You testing motherfuckers. Even if you did, I don't think I would say, yeah, I got that shit. Because he would have told me not to tell you. You know what I mean? But nah, he didn't send me nothing, though. Real shit. Nah, yeah, nothing like that, man. Okay. What you text it? You text it to my phone? Oh, okay. Now who produced it? Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's some good company to do it. Definitely. Hopefully, Jim. You know, I know Jim Norton's in it and all them other cats. Nick DiPaolo? Oh, okay. Right, because she used to have like a lot of home videos and stuff, and she started taking them shit down. So I'm thinking, hopefully, she put it in the documentary. Huge. Yeah. Like a lot of those barbecues and stuff he used to have, they will record like a lot of those or whatever.
Yeah, they got a lot of footage that nobody's ever seen.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's really cool.
It started snowing, but then it stopped. I hope it stops snowing, man. I want to make some money, man. Shit.
It's still snowing?
It started, but then it just stopped. I'm hoping, I'll make some. Oh yeah, I ain't messing with that. You should be. The storm gonna be over by. It should be over by tomorrow. You should be good. By tomorrow, like around 6 or so. So hopefully that doesn't affect this show. Oh yeah, just doing you Saturday. Ain't better than nothing, right? Yeah, that's true. That is true. Like, nah, nobody will fuck with Andre Kim no more. I definitely was gonna come through, yo, definitely, for sure. I had a couple spots last week, man, and I did pretty good, man. I wasn't as rusty as I thought I was, you know. Well, I think a lot of it is podcasting and doing like Zoom shows and shit. I'm still talking. I'm still like being creative. You know what I mean? Yeah. People are paying attention. People are watching. It's just like sometimes it's an audience right in front of you, or sometimes it's a digital audience. When you know that somebody's paying attention to you, you tend to perform better. So with that in mind, you know. So, it was a show I had on Valentine's Day. I did some shit in Torrington. On Saturday, Key Rome had some shit in Seymour, and I did an open mic in Hamden. I don't know if you ever been to that. Have you ever been to Chris Warren's room? His mic?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's pretty good spot, man. Pretty good. Yeah. Nice little room. We smoke mainly all comics, like non-PC comics. You know, in Connecticut, there's all these different factions of comics now. You know, all these crybabies and haters. You saw the drama with Matt Heat and Brian. Yeah, it's shit. Well, Matt's gonna be hosting the Hungry Tiger now. That shit, yeah. And Brian was kind of, pissed because like, he's like, Matt went behind his back. But like, them niggas don't fuck with each other though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you expect somebody to be loyal that you don't fuck with? Yeah, it's every man for himself. It's like if me and you was beefing, and then I smashed your, and I smashed your ex-girl, I'm not gonna ask you. Hell no, you're my peoples. Yeah. So, I mean, proper etiquette, if an owner offers you the room and you know another comic do it, the proper etiquette is to take it up with, talk to the other comics. But if you don't fuck with that comic, man, that's out the window, man. Period. Yeah. But it's just silly drama. It's a lot of people with just minimal talent in Connecticut that's just, they don't really got nothing going on for themselves, so they revel in the controversy and shit because they don't got no spots. Or they just only book each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a big circle jerk.
It's bullshit. Like, as soon as this clears up, like, trust me, you're gonna be hearing from me a lot more as far as going to New York and getting spots and stuff. Immediately, I'll tell you, man. I gotta get. Yeah, I'm clearing up for sure. I'm doing some shit in New Jersey on March 17th on my birthday with CJ Cracks. Yeah, with CJ Cracks. He got a spot out there, and I want to pay people from Jersey to see me, man. You don't get booked unless people see you, People gotta see you, man. So. Get out there, do my club visit. When's the last place you were using? You were in like Baltimore or some shit, right? Oh, okay. Bag anything? I said, did you bag anything? Any ladies? Yeah, true that. True. A lot of times when comics is on the road, they smash other comics, either other female comics or like waitresses.
Yeah, it's the waitresses,
yeah, those are the ones that get it in. But that's a taboo too, though. That's bad for business. Fuck with the wrong one and you're banned. Yeah. I feel like hooking up with just random chicks in general is just dangerous nowadays, man. Anything could go wrong, bro. Yeah. Anything. She could literally have a great night and then change her mind and be like, you know what? I thought I consented, but I didn't. Like, it's done. It's crazy. Oh, who? Yeah. Get to know a girl or bring a like a lot of times I bring chicks with me to shows. That's what I do. So I already got a rapport. I'm already dealing with her. Yep. I ain't got to worry about nothing. For the most part. Even them bitches can turn on your ass. Hey, everybody on the side. Oh yeah, how's that been going, man? Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good, man. Now, Andre, just make sure, you know, you've been having a lot of hard times with a lot of these ladies, so you gotta make sure that you don't act like a pussy, because it's all about the mid school. I'm not an alpha male, I'm not a beta male, I'm a beta male. Yo, it's funny, I did his impression and I tagged him, and I ain't get no love for that shit. And that sounds just like him. No, nobody. Some people reacted, but like I tagged him directly. But I guess he probably get tagged all the time by people and shit. So he just don't pay. Yeah, so he doesn't pay attention. So I get it, but like, who's doing a Dante? Does Godfrey do a Dante Nero? He ain't fucking. I think my Dante Nero is off the chain, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's good, man. Yeah. Is she Latina? Okay. Coming outside of usually mess with sisters, you know. You switching it up on mofos. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that's dope. How old is she? Oh, okay. Oh yeah. It starts to go down, bro. But you catching the shorty at a good age though, you know? But did I say something about her young face? Did I say something about it? Yeah. I forgot I even said that. I be saying so much shit. Yeah, for sure. Definitely, man. But you never really had you never had a problem with getting buns in the game, or just getting buns in general. You know what I'm saying? So you've always been decent in that category. I'm about to put this on my PlayStation and watch this documentary you just gave me.
Yeah.
I'm sending it right to my. Actually, that's my.
What are you gonna send it to your email?
Yeah, to my email or my Facebook inbox. Open up my Facebook on my fucking PlayStation.
Oh, you can do that on PlayStation?
Yes, you can. Sure can.
And then you can hit the link and watch it on there.
There you go. Yep.
Okay. Make sure you put that password in correctly.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna do that. Definitely.
And then when you're done, hit me up and then we'll talk about it, because it's
a
couple of things that are interesting in it, you know.
How long is it?
Like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. All right.
It goes by fast, though.
Yeah, I'm on a book. I'm trying to.
Really fast, actually, because it's, you know, when something's really good, it just goes by fast.
Of course, Patrice is he's very interesting. You know what I'm saying? So I would expect
I was
it.
like absorbing every second of like the raw footage. I was like, oh my god, look at it. Dude, they show footage of him when he first started comedy.
Oh, nice. This is the stuff I was looking for, huh?
There's footage of Bill Burr waiting in the back of like one of these local rooms, you know, in Massachusetts. Dude, it was actually really eerie, because it's like him if he was like you or me, like X amount of years into the game.
Yeah.
And it's basically like he's one of the people up at like elbow room or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's dope, man.
And just seeing he looked really angry. But just see, because it's crazy when, you know, a comedy, like, it's not like baseball. Like, you look at Derek Jeter in his rookie season, and then you see how he looked in the pictures, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, in comedy, it's like all these like, there's no, like, you know, there's no record of pictures. I can't look up Bill Burr fucking when he first started, you know?
Right.
But you almost get, like, a stare down. You get to look into his eyes in one of the footage. It's like Dane Cook's personal footage.
Yeah.
And you're just like, it was kind of eerie because I'm like, wow, that's Bill Burr when he's like basically me, like amount of years.
So they used Dane Cook too. Dane Cook helped out.
Dane Cook what?
They used some of Dane Cook's footage.
Yeah, Dane Cook had like this is in like the late '90s. He just had like one of his DSP. He had like his own camera that he was just bringing around, you know.
Yo, sidebar. You know the comedian JP Justice?
Yeah, you know it's crazy. I was just thinking about him. He kind of reminds me of you.
Why you say that?
No, just the way you guys talk.
Like we always say, like we giving advice or some shit.
No, just like the cadence.
Oh, really? He been doing comedy for 30 years. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not saying you have to be famous, but I'm like, if he's been doing it 30 years, like what the fuck? Like why isn't he like a name? You know what I mean?
Why is he really funny?
He's pretty good. He's decent, but if I compare him to other 30-year people, he doesn't. For me personally, he doesn't really stand out like that, and maybe that's why.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, it's nothing special when I see him. It's good. It's solid, but it's not like oh shit. He's just been around a long time, though. You know. But I was wondering if you've ever seen him before, you know, perform.
I've seen him on stage, but you know, there's a lot. It's like boxing, man.
There's
a lot of people that are really good at the gym.
Yeah, that's true.
Sparring partners, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Not everybody's meant to be a headliner, man. Some people are just meant to be a teacher or a mentor. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure he can headline, but you know, there's a lot of things.
Like he's been doing comedy longer than Godfrey, man.
Right.
He's been doing comedy since 1989. He was doing comedy longer than Patrice was. If Patrice was still alive, he was doing it longer than Patrice.
Yeah.
But I was watching his podcast, and they say he had a lot to do with what's this cat that used to date Ariana Grande, Pete Davidson. They say he had a lot to do with his success. I don't know the extent of that, but like even if you don't get on, if you could be like, yo, I didn't get on, but like these people got on because of me. To me, that's still something dope. Like look at Tony Wood. If there's no Tony Woods, there's no Dave Chappelle. You know.
Right.
If there's no Keith Robinson, there's probably no Kevin Hart. So even if you don't make it, if somebody within your camp makes it, I think that's still dope, man. You know.
Right.
Or one of your students. That's why you about to make it, and you know I taught you everything you knew. So you.
What are you about to watch a documentary?
Yeah, I'm about to watch. I'm just trying to figure out how to get my email up right now. PlayStation is more difficult. If anything, I got a laptop. I'll just watch on my laptop. You know?
Yeah, hit me up when you're done. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure, definitely, man.
All right.
All right, how about you?
Bye.
Peace.
It was like a whole little vacation spot.
Were you the one that explained to him what happened?
All of us did. But yeah, of course, I explained to him. He's like, I don't know where, like,
yeah, okay. That's crazy. That's definitely crazy.
Are we filming? Because this
Yes.
is okay. How is it that I'm against jewelry but I wear it?
And not just it, like a lot of it.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
And this ain't even all of it. Actually, it was more jewelry on the table outside. Doesn't matter. It's in the vicinity.
Really? Is that what it?
Yeah.
That's how it works?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Totality. That's a lot of fucking jewelry.
So my jeweler pulls up and he's got jewelry in his bag. It's all of a sudden mine. That's what that was.
Oh, okay. So I take it back.
Yeah, okay. Nah, but, well, when I say I'm for jewelry, but against that, I mean, like, I bought this watch 2016. I haven't bought a watch since. You can ask me. Like that. I bought it 3 years.
Did your blow up year?
Was my blow? So, like, when I first got money, I was like, okay, let me treat myself. Whatever. And when I say I'm not that I'm against jewelry, it's more so like, I'm not trying to, I don't advertise it. You don't see me on Instagram like, yo, look at my watch, look at my this, because is it cool that I can do it for myself? Yeah, but is it something that I'm trying to advocate for? No.
No. Got it.
That's what it is. Like, will I buy it? Yes, but will I promote it? No.
All right.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So how are you? Let's start there. How are you doing?
Living the dream. I can't complain.
See, that's why people hate you.
Yes.
Now, I'm totally here. Let's start there, because I don't even know where to start.
Let's also give context. We're inside of my house, right?
I think they know.
Well,
I don't have your plaques hanging.
No, but they might think that we rented a warehouse, we hung up plaques.
Oh yeah, I know we do that. So no, we are.
We're inside of my house.
I am.
Don't disclose my address or my location.
I don't know your address. I don't know where I am. But this nigga live far, like in rich nigga land. But I came here and we tried to work this out for a little while. And we finally got it done. And unbeknownst to you, but my mission was to come here and figure you out.
I love it. Bro, we can talk for hours.
That is exactly why I'm here.
Yeah.
So this is the first interview that I'm coming in. I don't have any questions, but I never have. I mean, nothing written down. I never have that. But with you, I didn't want to research.
Yeah, it's good.
My introduction to you was bad.
Most is.
I was, that's where we can start.
Yes.
I was working at Complex.
Yes.
And I was...
Everything he spoke about was absolutely only his.
Think about what cheating is. Cheating is a guy going out trying to make himself happy without you knowing it because he doesn't want to make you upset. So, really, it's for you.
He was just always better than us. So whatever we were struggling with, he was beyond it.
One of the funniest, realist comics of all time. He's one of the greatest comedians that ever lived. He's a first round Hall of Famer.
He wasn't the most well-known comedian in America because there's no justice. There's no justice.
I mean, I know this documentary is supposed to be like, Patrice O'Neal, oh my God, one of the best, the greats.
I'm trying to win. Patrice took it to court all the time. All the time. was part of his charm.
Oh my God, I'm finished. See that white woman there? I'm done. My career's over. She looks like she writes letters to the governor and shit.
Patrice was a genius who constantly shot himself in the foot.
This crowd stinks. I want you to see myself as an entertainer. Like, I realize I don't really like entertaining people.
He said, be the truth. At all costs.
I thought I would have a white slave, but I thought... You know what I'm saying? White girl go war, better. Get upstairs, Susan.
You know, he used to say this thing about killing is easy. Once you learn how to kill as a comedian, killing is easy. Everybody in the room is laughing, but that's not what he wanted. He wanted the truth.
Just relax.
Yeah, just be you. I couldn't be any more relaxed.
Just me. Keep going. Breathe.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of casting directions. He would act like he hated it, but he would love it.
Maybe we can relate it to you being annoyed that it wasn't made movie.
You know, there's a lot of people that went that side.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tears and a lot of blows.
I was born during when black people named their children. They had to name them after somebody important black. So a lot of Marcuses, a lot of Malcolms, you know. My middle name's Malcolm.
During that time, you know, we were all finding ourselves, learning about our African roots, and my cousin wanted to name him Lumumba.
After Patrice Lumumba, the first Congo president, and my mother said, no, I like him to have some sort of life, so I'll make a deal with you that I'm going to name him Patrice instead of Lumumba, because it's better for somebody to go, is that a girl's name, than to go, what the hell is that?
In the formative years, he was very inquisitive, very inquisitive. So he always asked a lot of questions. Of course, he was very talkative, so he was frequently in trouble that way.
You're from Roxbury, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Now, most Americans have no idea how racist Boston is.
A lot of things I learned about racism that you don't learn unless you live in a place like Boston. It was a summer camp, I think I was 10, and this kid called me a nigger. This little white kid called me a nigger and ran, and I chased him. And he ran to where there was adults, and I grabbed him, and when I put my hands on him, I got thrown out of camp. I'm like, he called me a nigger. It's like, yeah, nigger. So I learned a lesson that you have the skin color of the enemy.
I had to talk to him about a lot of things. You know, he only had me to come to. I had to be mom and dad, which most single parents do. And so you have to let them know that as a black male child, people are always going to judge you by what you look like.
He was a good brother, a good older brother, taught me a lot of stuff. I remember we would go to the rec center every day, and he would go play basketball with his friends, and I would just sit there, and I'd have my little book, and I'd read my book, and then I would have to talk about my book. He would say, well, what was the book about? I don't think you read that right. You need to read it again. I'm like, well, that's what it was. And he's like, no, that's not what it's about. And he would tell me what it was about, and I'm like, well, I didn't get that from it. Read it again.
This is where it all began. This is the home of Patrice.
tiny fucking blood, man. God. This fucking annoying, man. Man, I wish I was making a podcast.
Balanced nature, of that whole aspect.
As a black male child, people are all...
Yeah, I have a lot of tears and a lot of balloons.
Hell yeah.
Just relax.
Yeah, just be you.
I couldn't be any more relaxed. That's what you do. You go like this. Breathe.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be a lot of casting directions watching.
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna get a special out.
Yeah.
Who's that fella with the hat?
You got fucking crow eyes. Look at you.
Those feet, you guys don't.
Yours only got all rose eyes.
What do you think about the documentary? He would act like he hated it, but he would love it.
But he would complain it took so long. He would be annoyed that it wasn't made literally the first year.
There's a lot of people that weren't that sad when Patrice died.
Yeah, and there was a lot of tears and a lot of balloons.
I was born during when black people named their children. They had to name them after somebody important black. So there's a lot of Marcuses, a lot of Malcolms. My middle name's Malcolm.
During that time, we were all finding ourselves, learning about our African roots, and my cousin wanted to name him Lumumba.
After Patrice Lumumba, the first Congo president, and my mother said, no, I'd like him to have some sort of life, so I'll make a deal with you that I'm going to name him Patrice instead of Lumumba, because it's better for somebody to go, is that a girl's name, than to go, what the hell is that? A Lumumba.
In the formative years, he was very inquisitive, very inquisitive. So he always asked a lot of questions. Of course, he was very talkative, so he was frequently in trouble that way.
You're from Roxbury, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Now, most Americans have no idea how racist Boston is.
A lot of things I learned about racism that you don't learn unless you live in a place like Boston. It was a summer camp, I think I was 10. And this kid called me a nigger. This little white kid called me a nigger and ran. And I chased him. And he ran to where there was adults. And I grabbed him, and when I put my hands on him, I got thrown out of camp. I'm like, he called me a nigger. It's like, yeah, nigger. So I learned a lesson that you have the skin color of the enemy.
I had to talk to him about a lot of things. He only had me to come to. I had to be mom and dad, which most single parents do. And so you have to let them know that as a black male child, people are always going to judge you by what you look like.
He was a good brother, a good older brother, taught me a lot of stuff. I remember we would go to the rec center every day, and he would go play basketball with his friends, and I would just sit there, and I'd have my little book, and I have to read my book, and then I would have to talk about my book. He would say, well, what was the book about? I don't think you read that right. You need to read it again. I'm like, well, that's what it was. And he's like, no, that's not what it's about. And he would tell me what it was about, and I'm like, well, I didn't get that from it. Read it again.
This is where it all began. This is the home of Patrice O'Neal, better known to us as Bruiser. I guess you guys know him as Patrice O'Neal. We used to call him Bruiser. Wasn't just a nickname because that's kind of what you give guys when they're 6'6", 350, 360, you know what I mean? You give them big guy names, you give them big rough and tough names, so,
This was the spot. His house pretty much became the meeting spot.
Yeah.
Story after story, telling joke after joke.
Comedy kind of was his thing, Bruiser, big as he is, dude wasn't the Wasn't the sexiest dude, you know what I mean? But he had the gift of gab. He had a mouthpiece.
I've been fat all my life, so funny it was a defense mechanism all the time. You walk in the room, and I used to go, I'm going to get a motherfucker before you get me. And I liked pretty girls, and I found out that I could laugh my way into some pretty pussy.
I remember times where we're wondering like how to break ice, how to like, you know, approach, you know, females or whatever. Yeah. Bruiser would kind of like slice through all of that. Like, hey, yeah, it's whatever, you know.
You say hello to you, better say hello back. If you don't say hello and try to get fancy with it, you jump all over you.
At least. And it wasn't the typical fuck you bitch. You know, it wasn't the typical, it wasn't that. It was like, I'm going to look at your shoes, what you're wearing, you're walking, right.
I know why you're here. Why are you here with her?
Your hairdo, you know what I mean?
She's driving.
Hey, she's making your whole team look bad, you know what I mean? Like, man, just roaster. Yeah.
He was always funny. But he must have woke up in the morning funny. Because he came off that bus and he never shut up, and he was always talking, and he was always surrounded by people, and they were always laughing. I had an open door policy in my office. Not a lot of the students, for obvious reasons, would just come in and say hello. Well, he did. He'd pop his head in, hey, Mr. P, what's going on? Sit down. And he'd just talk about anything he wanted to talk about. But after he would leave, you thought about some of the things he said. He was talking about issues, but he had a different slant on those issues.
Even if it was something as simple as the basketball court. For instance, Bruiser would point out, notice how when you go to the white side of town, you see the lines on the basketball court. You see the foul line, you see the out-of-bounds lines. When you go to the hood, you don't see any lines. You just see a basketball go down here, a basketball go down there. Oftentimes, they don't have nets on them. You know what I mean? So he kind of was, you know, aware of those things, you know what I mean? And noticed the balanced nature, you know, of that whole aspect.
He was thinking on a whole different level than we were thinking.
Very much so.
Very much so.
I don't think I was lucky as a comic in terms of the time I started. I think that I was ready to be a comic. I wanted to be one since I was maybe 16, but when I was 22, I started, and I think that was the perfect time for me.
And of course, you know, Patrice's story of how he started, you know.
The legend was, I wasn't here when the story happened, it was 92 at a club called Estelle's.
I do remember going to Estelle's.
We were all in the audience, and there was a guy doing comedy. I guess we can't say names, but...
When did you first meet Patrice? Him and his family came in to watch a show, and I was on stage, and he tried to heckle me.
The story has it, but Patrice was heckling him the whole set, and
because of course he had his own opinions then about what was good and bad.
I asked him if he had voted, and he said, "No, I don't vote." I said, "Yeah, that's because your fat ass can't fit in the booth." You know, and that's how it started.
Here comes Bruiser, like, just a shit-talking dude, life of the party, you know what I mean? Not really doing anything on a professional level. Here comes a dude who kind of just steps right into it.
And the guy said, well, if you think that you could do better, why don't you come up here and do better?
After the show, he came to me, he was like, yo, I was just trying to, you know, help you out, you know. I was like, you're not helping. He said, well, I always thought about I should be up there. And I was like, well, if you really want to get up there, and I gave him some names and phone numbers, places to call where you can go try out your stuff.
I guess he got inspired by that, and that's how Patrice basically got into doing stand-up.
So ultimately, I always love him because he finally got me to stop procrastinating. Right. And actually do something.
People told me, like, years later, you know, he's like, you know, Patrice gives you credit for getting him started in comedy. And I'm like, really? Damn, I could have been using that.
I got into this business because I was a funny person, and this was the natural, you know, progression to a funny person could actually make money. There's a thing, you know, if there was no such thing as comedy, I'd just be a funny guy working at the supermarket or whatever.
We first met, I was just started doing comedy. I started in 92, and I think he started sometime in 93. And I was at the Comedy Connection in Faneuil Hall, and he was a door guy there.
I don't remember that he was particularly funny when I first talked to him. I just knew that he was, like, interesting. Like, oh, who's this guy?
I saw him once as a door guy. And the next time I saw him, I believe we were at Stitches.
And this was like a place that new comics wanted to go. We wanted to go and like try to get, 5 or 7 minutes. And I remember my very first impression of him is he kind of turned to look at me to be like, is this where we can hang? And I was like, yeah, you step right over here. And he stepped over and he was kind of whispering and he was like, oh man, my first night in here. Oh, how do they do it here? And like we kind of just immediately were going back and forth. I said, oh, so you're here to perform? I hope so. And he put his hand out and it was Bruiser.
What's up, guys? What's going on? How you doing, Bill? Yeah. Hey, Patrice, what's happening? Fuck you! Okay. I'm going up on stage next. Make these people laugh. I'm gonna bring the camera right up with me. I'm doing a documentary. It's called The Decline of Comedy. And I'm looking at the beginning.
And the end. It was fun being together. As soon as you saw Patrice or Billy or Dane or any of those guys, that was the fun part of it, because we were in the car just fucking making each other laugh.
That laugh. That was my favorite thing. And so those late nights after, it was kind of like, let's unwrap what we did in comedy, but oh man, if you could get Patrice on a roll, you kind of felt like you had 2 great shows. You know what I mean? You had the show, and then man, I made Patrice laugh, like the real Patrice laugh. That was like a gift.
We would hang out until like 2 o'clock in the morning, then I would drive Patrice home and I'd talk to him for another hour in the car.
I remember Patrice, he would teach me shit. He taught me stuff about, like black hookers. We were just sitting in my car one night. An older black hooker came by. He's like, black hookers don't go with black dudes, right? I was like, shut the fuck up. He's like, they don't. They only go with white dudes. They like white dudes. I'm like, you're lying. He's like, I'm telling you, man. He goes, white dudes don't negotiate. You just tell them how much it costs and they'll fucking pay you. Black dude's gonna, be like, I'll give you 10. And I was like, bullshit. And he called her over. I was like, yo, come here for a second. I remember she came over. He's like, yo, you go with black dude? She's like, fuck that. I was like, what?
I don't mind a little racism. I don't mind a little bit of it. That's what makes America America, man. I don't mind a little bit. It's just these fanatical racists, man, they say, we should have never ended slavery. Should have kept them slaves. Should have never freed them. Come on, okay, I don't care what your degree of racism is, right? Think about this. Racism or slavery in 1994? What the fuck is that gonna be? Facts is, nigga.
I'm not going to be the best comedian in Boston. This guy's the best I've ever seen. And the joke I remember, I remember most of the set, but one joke he told, he opened up by saying, I hate fat people.
Like, fat strangers, they speak to me in the middle of the street like we got some sort of, bond or something like that. Hey, I eat too. I don't know you.
Every fat guy did fat jokes back then, and they would kill, and you made a great living being the fat guy, and then he went up there and he says, I hate fat people.
Get extra happy like, hey, big man, represent, represent, what? Fat people? When I become the leader of fat people, I don't want to lead fat people nowhere. What we're going to do, march? The million-pound march. We're going to walk. Like a Malcolm XXL or so, Hey, thank you very much. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I remember seeing him maybe 6 or 9 months after the Malcolm XXL jokes, and he was doing something completely different. He was doing long form, and he was telling stories, and I remember saying, he can go on to this new thing, but he should still do the Malcolm XXL, because it kills. And somebody said, Gary, he doesn't want to be the guy telling the Malcolm XXL jokes. He wants to be Pryor. And I thought, oh, then he probably will be.
People are full of shit, man. Really. Just be honest. That's all I'm asking. Like, I was on a train, and the train stopped. It was during, like, rush hour. And no one knew why the train stopped, so the conductor said, folks, there may be a half-hour delay in service. A woman just was struck and killed by the train. And everybody went, delay in service. A woman just was struck and killed by the train. And everybody went, I'm sitting there, why don't you just be honest and do what you want to do and go, oh my God, this dead bitch is holding up my God. Damn, how long does it take to move a face off the tracks? A half hour?
I remember one time he goes, you gotta be the fucking truth. Be the truth up there, man. Be the truth. Stop trying to be what you think that they want you to be or what you did last week. Be the fucking truth. Be the truth right now. How you feel right now. That was his secret sauce. That was the trick. If he was whimsical, he was whimsical on stage. If he was feeling frustrated and annoyed, he'd bring that to the stage.
I can't remember the exact material, but I just remember falling over laughing and thinking it was so provocative, but in a way that made you love him.
When people talked about him, they talked about him. It wasn't just that he was good. It was like, this guy's different, this guy's sort of insanely different, and he's good.
You know, we always like to break young talent. We've done it with every show. And this guy, I read about in the Globe, and I heard about him from some of the other comics in town. Very funny guy. We're happy to have him here, Mr. Patrice O'Neill, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Yeah! Okay. Whole lot of white people. Whole lot. Plenty. Make me feel comfortable. That's all right. You know what's good about having a lot of white people like this? I can see my mother.
Which, by the way, was true. When you looked, she was literally the only black person in this sea of 15,000 people.
They knew I was in the audience because Boston, you know, is Boston is Boston.
As far as like what was the racial dynamic of Boston stand-up when we came in, it was non-existent. It was just all white guys and like maybe a half dozen female comics.
He was doing material that crowds in Boston weren't really accustomed to seeing.
Part of his charm was this big, looming presence, and as a black man, big black man, just coming on stage and immediately talking about race.
I'm also at a racist camp also. He was cool. I thought he was racist. I was like one of those city kids that sent to a camp. You know, it was all suburban kids and stuff, and get that different exposure or whatever. That was cool. The problem was at night, I couldn't sleep because he was singing lullabies to the kids and crickets and leaves blowing everywhere. And one night I just said, excuse me, sir, I can't sleep. Please help me. I can't get any rest, man. These sounds, you know, I can't. Please help me get some rest. Can you do something? These sounds, I can't sleep. Please. And he said, sure, little fella. No problem, because we're all family here.
Where Boozer gets most
most of his racial animus is because of what happened with that whole Charles Stewart thing.
Boston recorded emergency 510. What's the shot? How's the shot?
Charles Stewart told the dispatcher from his car phone that he and his pregnant wife, Carol, had just been abducted, robbed, and shot. He said they were shot by a black man.
This man killed his wife, his pregnant wife, and he was able to say a black man did it, and the police department in Boston tore up the communities looking for this phantom.
The night it went down, we were coming from Northeastern Gym. So as we were walking home, that whole thing had just popped off. I guess the police were in there lockdown state, and we got jammed up behind.
You either gotta be a lesbian or smart trainer or something. That shit.
Lucy and I both were held at gunpoint.
The police were actually pulling down their jeans and checking them in the middle of the street.
The way we were treated and the way we were handled in that moment, I think, had a visceral effect on him.
White women make me nervous. I'm horrified of white women. Not now, because it's witnesses, but I'm talking about at night, you know what I mean? You walk somewhere and a white woman's coming towards me and she's looking at me and she's making me a little nervous. I'm like, oh, Jesus, this big guy, I'm scared. And I'm kind of in the same mode in my mind, like, oh, Jesus Christ, I hope nothing happens to her around me. If she gets killed, let her get killed away from me. I don't want to get blamed. Like, I'm always prepared, too. I always have an alibi. Like, I keep my receipts all day long. I just have a pocket full of receipts, just a trail of where I've been, just in case the cops are like, where was you at 6 o'clock? So I was buying a CD. And I make sure when I bought that CD, people in the store remember me. I'm as loud and obnoxious as possible. Hey, I bought this goddamn CD!
I remember driving home one night, trying to have me, like he was trying to guess which comics he thinks regularly say the N-word. And he was doing it in this funny way, and I was just throwing out names because it kind of became like a game. He's like, motherfucker, you can tell by his fucking shoes and his tight-ass jeans. He probably wakes up, that's part of his yawn or something like that. And it's just, you had me dying laughing. And it was one of those things where I think I was really young, where I was just kind of like going, oh wow, this is cool. This is sound like, you know, those Richard Pryor albums that I heard when I was growing up. You know, I didn't understand like the pain that was causing him.
I was not going to sit around and try to figure out how to stop Boston from being Boston. I got to get out of here, man.
The first time we all drove down, me, Dane, Billy, Patrice, we all came down together in this one truck. I think Dane's girlfriend's fucking big SUV or whatever the fuck it was. I remember we all went down and we all just went to the cellar. Just kind of stood there. Okay, and then we all went up to the strip and just stood there. And none of us were in. Went to the Boston Comedy Club and kind of just hung out there for a little bit. And then we went to a peep show.
He was coming back and forth a lot. Then I said, you just moved to New York. If you want to come through, I'll have room for you. So he said, all right. And then he ended up moving in my kitchen. That was his little thing, pull the curtain up. It was just bad.
I mean, it started in Boston, but I made my bones, I think. You know, I grew up in the Boston Comedy Club in New York, probably. They gave me more time, they gave me more space. You know, I was able to kind of really work out what's on your mind without, you know, endangering your career.
Boston Comedy Club was real hot at that time. Everybody there was killing. Dave Chappelle, Dave Attell, Jay Moore, Louis C.K. was coming through. And I seen the look in Patrice's eyes, because I said, yo, you want to go on? He said, no, I'm not ready. I'm not. I think that's the last time I ever seen Patrice be humble.
When he came to New York,
he wasn't one of these guys that had that dirty word potential. It's a dirty, dirty word. It means you're not there, bro. When we walked in the room, I remember I was thinking, okay, there he is. There's only one wolf. It ain't me anymore.
I remember the first time I watched him do a set in the club, and it was just, you know, kind of when you see somebody and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't believe this is somebody I haven't seen before. He was doing material about being a black man, and, you know, if like he would never litter. That was it.
Like, I don't litter. I don't throw garbage in the street. Not because I care about the earth, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna be walking through the park drinking a soda or something. When I'm done, I just throw it on my shoulder. It'll fly over a bush and roll down a hill and land on some dead white woman's head with my fingerprints on the fucking can. Now I'm the Pepsi Cola rapist because I'm lazy.
I've never seen him with a piece of paper. I never see him wrote a joke down. I never heard him go, yo, you think this is funny? He would do everything in the form of philosophy. He would just be like, yo, Bobby, you see this chick? She was, you know, fucking a dog. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah. And all of a sudden he'd be talking about it. Yeah, but if you came in, I know, but wait 1 second. If you came in, just hear me out. If you came in, and for 1 second you got a little heartbeat in your dick, does that make you fuck? Then he'd go on stage that night and bring all these conversations he had about this subject. Whatever the fuck it was, he would bring it up on stage. We kind of do that on stage. You can kind of hear that in his comedy.
I'm a dictator, a commentator. I'm self-absorbed when I'm up there. It's like you are doing what I want you to do. Like, even when people come in the audience, they get mad. I'm like, what you want me to do? Did you want me to, like, send you an email early to let you know what I want to talk about? I always see how fast I can piss off a crowd and see if I can bring them back. It may not happen because there's not a lot of y'all, and it's not good. Yeah, you know. Well, let's continue to talk to you then. I'm not a big fan of making people laugh every 5 fucking seconds. Like I don't even see myself as an entertainer. Like, I realize I don't really like entertaining people. Like, I realize I'm not gonna try to do everything I can so you can have a good time. Like, I think a juggler is an entertainer because he just does what he does, you know, a magician. But, like, I don't think a good comedian entertains anybody. Look at her serious face over there. Not you. This fucking lady with the, oh, what? Oh, you got really mad. Go ahead. Like, sometimes I like running people out my show. Get out. Go. All right, bitch. Yeah. She leave. Then you give it to her.
Stand-up is really about dissecting humanness, you know, the flaws of being human. And as I watched Patrice, it was a very honest take on sort of this destructive human being that's on stage. And for me, that was interesting to watch.
I met Patrice at a college gig, and he was such an asshole. I don't remember when I started liking Patrice, or why. When did I first meet Patrice? I don't even know. All I know is all of a sudden we're good friends. Patrice, Keith, Norton, and myself would just hang outside Boston Comedy Club till 3 in the morning, just trashing each other, and people would stick their head out the window and yell, "Shut up!" You know, people try to sleep.
End of '99, 2000 is when I started going to New York, and I was introduced to Patrice O'Neal. Patrice was a name that you needed to know, so I was very kind, and in return I got, who's this dummy? Ugh. That's what I remember. Ugh.
Patrice O'Neal at that time was an asshole. I'm pretty sure there are some people that are lying on this documentary. They're talking about how sweet he was. Because in depth, you say good things about people. But in the vein of Patrice O'Neal, I'll keep it honest. He was a fucking asshole. But, funny asshole, he was a likable asshole, and he had the honest voice.
My favorite memories, besides my kids being born and my ex-wife leaving me, were hanging out with our crew.
Just hanging out in the comedy cell. They used to have a table in the back.
It was like Patrice, Bobby, Kev, Colin, Billy, Norton, Keith.
What was good about being in with that crew is that we didn't let nobody get away with nothing.
We used to fuck with each other back.
Yeah.
Me and Norton and them, we used to have hat court. When we would, we would put your bid up on trial.
damn it. Why am I having such a difficult?
That's that. I gotta get some money. Yeah, I covered it up, so it's good. Liquid Band-Aid. Yes. Good. I'm about to go eat some of this. Stay now, you're just going. Yeah, okay. Tonight, yeah. Because I was thinking about to go back to work a little bit, that's all. If it ain't bad, yeah. Well, something worth my while. I'll go back out. Alright, that's cool. He kept saying himself.
So I think that this bitch sucks that you do.
What was so funny about him being such a dick to people and breaking their balls is because no matter what he said, everybody knew that he was better than them.
It made us tough. And it made us more comfortable. There was nothing that you could say to any of us that would bother us. I remember on my first spots at the Boston Comedy Club. I'm excited. I got a spot. It's like 4 people in the crowd, maybe 5. Nobody's laughing. In the back of the room, my hair. Ugh. At this point, I'm sweating. I'm just nervous. And then out of nowhere, boom! Patrice and I, from the back of the room, were heaving fucking phone books at Kevin Hart. And Patrice said, call anybody in there and ask them if you made the right decision. This ain't for you, man. Ugh. And they all walked out the door one by one. Boo.
We would sit there and comics would walk in, see all of us, and look and just make a U-turn and say, fuck it, I'm not going back there. Because they knew they were going to get fucking beaten.
I used to do that.
You used to walk away?
I used to come down here and I would have 5 insults ready for everybody just to get you off me so I could come down and see what time I was going on.
I mean, Patrice beat down Eddie If so bad. No one else could say it. He called him Eddie Up. He beat him down for 45 minutes.
One of the funniest lines he ever had is Eddie was going back and forth, and Eddie was like, I do a lot of colleges. And Patrice said, yeah, you do PU because you stick. See?
Yeah, you think he's like he has a speechless right now.
Fucking zero convention. Come on, let's go. Why would you throw me out? And the you ain't even right. You're saying that zero convention.
There was no elitism in Patrice, but I think there's just, you have to be a certain type of person wired in a similar way to Patrice to handle him.
Being funny, you gotta take chances. And sometimes the chance you take may hurt somebody's feelings. And you go, oh, I went too far. But you want that laugh too.
He had a big heart, but he didn't show it. He had an arm all around it. But if you got to know him and he liked you, he would do a lot for you.
He was loud, and he's 6'7", so that's automatically intimidating. So when you got into just a discussion with him sometimes, some people thought this was a serious argument. But it's not.
This comedy thing, a lot of it's a mask. You know, we're all assholes together and assholes to people, but deep down he was a good person.
I remember one time, he was on the phone, he was in his car, he was driving, and he said, I ate her pussy out. That's what I do. I always eat the pussy out. Yeah, well then if she won't suck my dick, I don't care, I'm still gonna eat her pussy out. Right? Alright, I'll talk to you later. And I go, yo, who is that? You know, that was my mom.
Everything. He talked about everything because he lived in a truth about who he was.
You know, first time I got my asshole licked, I cried like a baby. I made it sound like this. I went, I was mad at her and loving her at the same time.
He tells one story about his first pornography book, which happened to be my book, Our Bodies, Ourselves. And he read that book back to back. And then he would talk about things out of that book. Oh, well, my favorite is this, and my favorite is that. And it taught him about women.
When I started poking, first touching pussy, like I remember I hit the little ball in the back of the pussy. I didn't know what it was. You remember the little, when you first hit the ball, I thought it was a kidney. I was like, what is that? What the fuck is that? Is that your liver? I just touched the ball in your pussy, and I'm just poking, getting carpal tunnel syndrome and shit. That's not my steez no more. Mine's is this. Mine's is what I guess they call it the come here, the change. They call it reach for the change. Just slide it in and you can just hear.
I remember watching Patrice's set one day and grabbing my chest, and that's something you do when you get old. That's an old woman or old man trait. Oh God.
Man, I love stinking ass bitches, man. Like spitters and I like girls that spit gag. But my dick ain't that big, so if a girl gag on my dick, I'll be like, for real?
He was funny about sex. He tried to get my wife into swinging. It's like,
you ever been a mistress? Be honest. You ever been a side girl? You ever messed with a guy that had a girlfriend? Never. You never did. There's girls out there that sleep with other women's men, right? And they feel bad. What about them? I want to love her too. I don't want to just fucking go over her house at 2 in the morning and fucking drink an orange juice. Talk to her for 30 seconds and get the fuck out there and go home to my real woman. I want to bring you there, introduce you to my girl, maybe y'all get along.
There's no big secret about Patrice. That's an ongoing question. Was he different on stage or on TV versus at home? No. He was that all the time.
I get mad at my girl because I look at myself naked and I go, I would never fuck me. And I start looking at her like, what's this bitch up to? But she just loves me. I don't deserve her fucking love. God damn.
When we first met, I don't think he liked me very much, but there was something about him that I liked because he just had that presence. You know, he was confident, he was charming, but yeah, it was a slow process of us getting to the point where we were in a relationship. We didn't have sex for like the first year.
So you didn't have sex for a year?
Oh, he didn't have sex for a year? That's a good question. I know I wasn't having sex. He probably was.
Listen, how long y'all been together? Almost 2 years. You sure? Alright, but my girl been with me for 8 years. I've been with her for 3.
That was our life. You know, our life was material. Our life was on stage.
Let me ask you a question. Here's a question. Here's a serious question. Okay, ladies, if you didn't have a vagina, like say it was a terrible train accident, right? And the doctor was like, we have to remove your pussy right away or you're gonna die. How would you keep your man past, you get a 2-month guilty, I can't leave the bitch right away because you just lost a pussy in a train accident. Can't just walk right out on him. How would you keep your man past that? You're getting out of vagina. Suck his dick, okay, mouth. Asshole, okay, great. You see what I'm saying? Now, I've been getting pussy bean the whole show, right? But I give women the opportunity to say, I want to make myself worth more. But you just classified yourself as a series of holes, but you know, I'm supposed to teach you special, but you're just a bunch of holes for yourself. No one said learn how to play Xbox, learn how to play pool, tell better stories, get another bitch that got a pussy to come on in.
When you listened to him, you really felt like you were taking the red pill. Oh, I can see now, you know, this is how it really is. Is that the right one, the red pill? I never know if it's the red or the blue.
This is really good.
So, you know, I got an inside track to the comedy industry. Comedy Central's produced biographies of Patrice O'Neal, and my boy sent me the pre-screen, like the pre-video. Yeah, oh yeah, my boy Andre Kim. Andre Kim he's a co-host with the comedian Godfrey. Godfrey was like real good with Patrice. And that big guy dancing there, a light-skinned dude with the big hoop, the earring, he's like, what do you got on his face? That was Patrice's best friend. Like, I'm connected to all these people, man. Yeah? I'm connected to some good people. I just gotta keep showing and proving when I hit them stages. Because I'm there. I'm right there on the cusp. Not everybody got privy to that to a Comedy Central production before it came out. You know? Yep.
Welcome to Tough Crowd. The vision of Tough Crowd was a combination of the Comedy Cellar table and the fact that it was the beginning of people being offended in political correctness. Yet I'd walk to the bathroom at the Comedy Cellar, you have to use the bathroom, and there would be people on stage saying all these things that were supposedly offensive to a very multinational, multiracial crowd, and everyone's laughing. So I was like, wait, this should be at least shown, you know. So that was the vision to me.
What the hell did you just say? I don't even know what you just said. First of all, here's the reason. This is what white people don't understand. White people have been stealing stuff for years. You took Jesus, you took rock and roll, tried to claim it yours. I'm saying you was not the same color, not Irish. White people would be slaves if they could, just to steal it.
That whole thing developed is a dynamic that was started by Patrice O'Neal.
Tough Crowd, he would stand up.
Oh my God! Listen, shut up! You're 14 drinking coffee.
I remember the first couple episodes, and we were all going, he's hogging the goddamn camera.
John didn't even believe a word he said. He just wrote it, and he was stuck by the guy.
I think he and Colin too wanted an honest discussion that you're going to be working with comics that don't know, that just learned about the Iraq War last night while they were doing their homework after they got the list of topics.
Shut up! Shut up,
He had an instant opinion. Great comics have instant opinions. Ask them something. They'll tell you, and it's probably not what you thought it was going to be.
You're
You're not condemning him for that.
Look, if we die, everybody else dies. That's why I like DW.
Yeah.
DW, because if we die, everybody else dies.
He's right. If we die, everybody else dies. My memories of Patrice on Tough Crowd is like that. First of all, half the comedians wanted to kill him, and they wanted to kill me because I indulged him. He was like, I let.
I love Bush.
You're not condemning him for that.
Look, if we die, everybody else dies. That's why I like DW.
Yeah.
DW, because if we die, everybody else dies.
He's right. My memories of Patrice on Tough Crowd is like that. First of all, half the comedians wanted to kill him, and they wanted to kill me because I indulged him. He was like, I let him get away with murder on that show.
Many of you hate me because some of your favorite comics come on the show and they can't get a word in edgewise. Trust me, they ain't got nothing to say.
But it's because it was so compelling and interesting to watch somebody working that I was like, all right, let him finish. I want to see where this goes.
If black people had one face to call the leader of race, like of slavery, like, because it's too broad, we just hate too many of you. If y'all, if you just made like one dude with a funny mustache and a big bite, like, he was a dude that made slavery, we'll be like, all right, we hate him, and then we can move on. Tough Crowd was my thing, man. I loved it with all my heart. I haven't done anything since that I love as much as I love Tough Crowd. What it was is like, For me, I would love to tell my point of view, no matter what it is, and just really talk shit and tell my opinion.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna strap one of your jokes to myself and run through Palestine.
He changed the dynamic of the room. But I honestly think it has something to do with being an original thinker, and it's so rare that people are really attracted to it.
And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patrice O'Neal.
We hustled to, open up any opportunity, any door we could. And at that time, he walked through pretty much walked through any door that presented itself. So acting.
7 years, man. That shit ain't no joke. Man, oh my God. Little ass teeth. You got dolphin teeth.
We got him on 2 animated shows.
You bitch.
And Arrested Development.
Bananas are our business, man. Just chewing a banana this day.
T-Bone, what are you doing here?
Oh, your dad gave me the job.
He had a lot of fans in the business early on. People who really wanted to champion him.
I'm Patrice O'Neal, and I'm your host of VH1 and iFilm.com's Web Jump 20.
In the office, that was the case.
Damn it, Michael. Pay attention, man.
But from my understanding of it was that he was just exhausting on set. That was it. He would, he'd just give everybody shit.
His thing was he didn't like lesser talent telling him what to do. You know what I mean? We were sitting in between takes one time, and he just expressed to me that just certain people he just didn't like telling him. And this is how it's done. That didn't sit well with him.
You know, folks, when friends see other friends messing up, you don't talk behind their back. You pull an intervention. Patrice O'Neal needs my help. He goes out to Hollywood recently. This is all true. Doesn't get the fame and money he deserves. Why? He's got what they call an attitude problem. Let's take you back to LA 3 weeks ago and reenact Patrice on the set of some TV show he's doing a guest spot on. First, you get there early in the morning. First person you meet is the young production assistant, an enthusiastic innocent usually. You excited?
It's 6 in the morning. What are you, well, no, I'm not excited. All I'm doing is 3 lines in a stupid show. What are you doing? You're just a call sheet girl. What? Well, you're just what? You're meaningless. You're like, you're phony. Eat it. I'm just trying to help a girl.
He really believes he's trying to help her. These people said, oh, we made up the dialogue. That was a nice version of what he said.
Patrice's flaw was he didn't want us to come to what he felt was the bullshit of the business.
Okay, let's say the show's star showed up.
Hey, man, how's it going? Hey, man. Hey, everything's cool. But that script, that sucks, man.
Some of those things were baby steps that should have been taken to ignite the next levels of his career. I just don't think that he ever gave that side of it a true chance. He went after everybody. He went after people in the business who could hurt him. He went after directors and producers. I was on the set of Furry Vengeance with him, and I wanted to choke him. It was me and him were doing this dumb film together. They were sitting there, and the director's telling us something.
Real quick, after the jump.
And Patrice was making it known that he was disgusted. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He's gonna get fired. And I'm saying to him, what are you doing? He didn't get a shit. He was letting the director know. He just couldn't. Patrice lived his life as if he thought a movie of his life would be shown to his friends after, and he'd get called out if he didn't talk shit when he was supposed to.
Hey, my name's Patrice O'Neal, and I've been fighting with crackers my whole life, and it's got me no place. I just wish I'd have took some time to understand him a little bit more. I wonder what my life would have been.
Perfect.
He had an opportunity with Comedy Central to do a pilot.
Now pay attention!
Which turned out to be a disaster. He believed in his idea so much and he just saw it all falling apart.
I wrote a few pilots for him, and he kind of made me a partner. Network execs were so put off by him, and like sitting in meetings with him that you'd think would be going so well, like, oh, slam dunk, we're totally getting this pilot. And then he would just be extra him all of a sudden, and we just, you could just see the deals and see like the possibilities just completely disappear because
No.
As a black guy coming to a business like this, when you meet with folks mostly white, that don't know you, you don't know them. So how do you come across to something that's not familiar? The frustration is the adjustments that you feel as though you got to make and the adjustments that you actually got to make. It's a mind fuck. And then it's a long journey to yourself again.
Come over here, I want to show you something, the future.
I had real talent, man.
He's my idol coming up, man.
Shut up, stupid. You see, Patrice, your friends can't believe you died. They're very sad. You died of poverty because nobody wanted to do a show with a 300-pound, angry you-know-what.
What is it that you're trying?
Talent, man.
He's my idol coming up, man.
Shut up, stupid. You see, Patrice, your friends can't believe you died. They're very sad. You died of poverty because nobody wanted to do a show with a 300-pound, angry you-know-what.
What is it that you're trying to do here? What are you?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed with making it. Like, I don't, but at the same time, Ron, I don't want to be no martyr either. I hate when people, I'd rather some people come to me and go, you suck, other than going, you're the best comic I've ever seen. And then I dig my pockets, I go, really?
Yeah.
That's my struggle.
Right.
Is, all right, I'm just going to do it for the money. Because my mother, everybody wants me to do it for the money. See, a lot of things in this game is weird, is they try to give you golden handcuffs all the time. And golden handcuffs is when, like, if you're out of control, somebody just gives you something to control you. So you got nothing, they give you 5 G's, give you something, make you scared of losing 5 G's, and then that's how they beat you into being a slave. It's like, hey man, we're gonna give you this, but you're gonna have to spin in a circle and do this on top of your head and spin. Nah, nope, I ain't doing it.
Patrice had a very clear idea of the kinds of material he wasn't interested in. But he was also torn. He was torn between wanting to have attention and wanting to have success and not caring about having attention or having success.
You know, it's difficult to tell the truth, but you gotta start telling the truth because it kills you. It takes something out of you when you are phony. You know, I'd rather die than be phony, really, because it kills me. And it's not worse. Like, I'm depressed, but I'm not suicidal. You know how, like, horrible resistance that is wanting to kill yourself, but you just can't, you won't kill yourself? Do you understand what that is? So I have to figure out a way to make myself happy. And that's not to lie.
You know, comedy's an interesting phenomenon in that really to do the best work in the art form, you really have to not give a shit about what anybody thinks. But you're in show business, and what people think is your bread and butter.
So, say that again, I'm sorry.
I know my history, I know my propensity, what I am inclined to do or inclined to be. So I'm like, if I can't present myself a certain way because I know my inclinations to be who I am would destroy that anyway. Like web jump, I used to do web jump. You know, I was the web jump guy. Hey, like, you know, I probably could have been a celebrity if I just hung in there and stayed doing web jump. But then I would have had 18-year-old girls at my show, at my live show, going, this is not funny. This is not the web jump guy. This is weird. I don't know what he's talking about. Fucking fingers in girls' butts. That's stupid. I don't know.
His ultimate mission was to be himself and be honest. That's the thing that rang out from him. That's the force that he couldn't turn off, and that directed him. And then that sometimes that path and that force, which was stronger than his desire to make it, would clash and hinder the one to make it in comedy and be a show business.
I remember when he got the Showtime thing. He was staying at my house. He was screaming, got into a big fight with the production, the director. I remember he cried because he's like, why can't I just be me? Why do I have to fucking fold for these people?
In comedy, he always knew what he fucking wanted. He said no to so many people because he just didn't want to do it. And he told fucking Puffy no, Spike Lee no. He told fucking major players no. That's not what.
But some of that was fair. They're them. And like when you actually up to bat, and now it's your turn, then you do it, and it's right there, and you say, hey, you're the guy, and now you got to perform. And I think a lot of it was like, am I going to be really good at this?
The thing is with that, you know, I don't want to set myself up for a fall from grace. Meaning this, you get caught being who you are, like Pee Wee Herman jerking off in public. That's what he is. He was being a kid's superstar, and it's like this. When I do my shit, I want to make sure like the web joke would have been my Pee Wee Herman, because I have the propensity to jerk off in public. So I gotta find out who the fuck is gonna ride with me as who I am.
Rich Voss is in the studio. Voss, what's up, man? He looks like a proud papa.
I'm not a proud papa.
He's introducing Patrice to Aunt and I and our listeners. Patrice is a really funny guy. Is he funnier than you?
Yes.
O&A was a hugely popular radio show in the shock jock genre. It was a place for a lot of comics to showcase their talents.
I like when Voss is plowing through the same old crowd. And
It's awful, isn't it? It won't right. Lenny Bruce got more new jokes.
It was just like doing Tough Crowd, hanging at the cellar. It's just us hanging out, and now we're on radio.
He fell in love. Norton got dumped by a prostitute.
Patrice was the most honest person I ever met in my life. He knew where the gray areas were in topics, and he explored that all the time.
Patrice has a very interesting way to look at women.
I told my girl she's the fourth most important thing in my life.
Boy.
I look at like the whole kind of radio era and all that stuff was like it was like a show.
And I'm gonna tell you what the three ahead of her was.
Okay.
It was me, my career,